Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the Pretend Pros. I'm your co host, Jenny Hoffman,
And
the
this is
rookie.
yeah, and this is Beth Painter. So every episode I've given myself a new title because Jenny has deemed herself the rookie. I was just going to make myself the IU fan and just be done with it. But Jenny might have actually found one topic that I will not be able to bring up Indiana basketball or athletics at all. So I'm just going to be the rookie with her. I know nothing about our topic, and we are both going to learn again, like we have with some other episodes. So, Jenny, you want to introduce our new special guest?
Sure. So today's guest is Emily Mars Raymond. She is an old friend from way, way back. And gosh, we probably have known each other since junior high. And today's topic is running. Emily was the Ohio State cross country champion in 1999, 3,200 meter state champion on the track in 2000. She went on to run collegiately at Brigham Young University and was part of the NCAA cross country national champion teams in 2001 and 2002. She was the Mountain West Conference 10,000 meter champion on the track in 2003. And since graduating college, Emily has continued training and racing competitively in track, cross country, and road races, from the 5K to a marathon to a 100-mile race, which we can't wait to dive
Yeah, I
into
got
that
questions
topic.
about that.
Beyond running, Emily is a social worker at university hospitals and has 3 children with her husband, Scott. So welcome, Emily.
Yeah,
Thanks
welcome.
for having me.
So we're just going to jump right into it. In the bio, you said a social worker, your wife, mom of 3, and you're still training competitively at that top level. I want to know how you juggle it all.
Well, I've been running since 7th grade, so I feel like I've been through many phases of my life, and running has kind of always been the constant. So how do I juggle it all? I think right now it's with early mornings and running before the sun comes up sometimes. And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like running has been one of the sort of rocks in my life. So I kind of have to make it happen or I don't feel like myself.
Have your kids or your husband, are they runners as well? Like, do they participate with you, or this is your thing separate from all of them?
It's always been my thing separate from all of them. That said, my husband is a runner. He doesn't really call himself a runner because I think he looks at me and says, oh, she's competitive. Like she's a real runner. And so he just likes to run to be outside and like commune with the owls. I don't know. He's really into nature, which is great. But he's not super competitive the way that I am. And so he kind of says, oh, I'm not a real runner. But that said, he did a 100-mile race a couple years ago. Like he
Wow.
did one before me. So like he runs.
Yeah, if you're signing up for a 100-mile race, you are definitely a runner.
Runner.
And you're
So
competitive, because I
yeah,
don't know why you would do that unless you weren't competitive.
right. And then my 3 kids, they've all kind of done different things with running. 2 of them have run on cross country teams, but they're more of the commune with the owls kind of runner. Like they just like being outside. And then my middle child, of course, a daughter, she does not want to do the things that I want to do or I want her to do. So she like will refuse, like she'll never run cross country or track just because I want her to. But every once in a while, she'll jump into like a 5K or like kids fun run and she'll like blow everybody away. So it kind of makes me crazy. But then she'll blow everyone away and then she'll say, "Oh, that was really hard. I didn't like that." I'm like, "Well, that's because you didn't train. Like it would actually feel better if you trained." But alas.
So, how many miles are you running each week?
So lately I've been running like 50 to 60 miles each week.
So, like
So
in a day, like how are you chunking that up? Like, is it an average of like 10, over like 5 days, or are you literally running 7 days a week?
I run 6 days a week. So yeah, so it can be like 10 miles a day, averaging, but usually I have one longer run during the week and I'll have a couple shorter runs. And then just between like getting kids on the school bus and like work schedules and stuff, sometimes I break up my runs. So I'll run like 3 or 4 miles in the morning before the bus comes. And then later in the afternoon, I'll go run 8 miles. Or so sometimes I'm running twice a day just to fit it all in.
Are you training for anything right now?
I am. Yeah. So I'm currently training for a 50-mile race that's this Saturday. So
My gosh.
in 2 days. So yeah. So this part of the training is actually like this week. I'm not running 60 miles. Well, I guess with the race, I will be running 60
Yeah.
miles this week at least, but I'm not running that much this week because I'm like resting my legs. I feel like I'm hardly running, but I'm going to do it all on Saturday.
Like how long will it take you to run 50 miles? Like just give me some concept so I can feel awful about it.
It's on a trail and it's a hilly trail. And I haven't run this trail before. I'm just thinking that I'm going to run between 8 and 10 hours
Oh my gosh,
for
that's
50
so
miles, but I don't really know.
holy mac.
So
I can't even picture
with
what
that,
that like that's like I will sleep for 8 hours and you're gonna run for that long. Like my brain just can't compute that at all.
Well, it's only half of 100 miler, so
Yeah, I mean, okay, I guess if that's the perspective you're putting this in.
right? It's nothing.
so how do you fuel your body pre-race, during the race, and post-race, especially for something as long as a 100-mile race?
Yes. I mean, before the race, drinking a lot of water a few days before the race. I might eat a few more carbs, but I'm not like, oh, I have to have pasta every single night. I mostly just eat what I always eat. I think that's the best advice is like just eat what you normally eat. You don't want to eat something weird right before you go run a whole bunch. So I'm not trying any interesting foods a few days before the race, that's for sure. And then during the race, I have all kinds of food, right? Especially like for the 100-miler, I was eating like I don't even know how many calories I consumed, but it was a lot. It was ridiculous. I have some energy drinks that are kind of not energy drinks. I guess it's not Monster or anything, but more like electrolyte drinks. And then I have these little like energy waffles, little goos. I don't know. They make all kinds of interesting things that you can easily consume, and it's just so that you can digest it while running.
Yeah.
So, like, you wouldn't want to drink chocolate milk on the
Mhm.
run. That would be awful. So basically anything that's easy to digest and also easy to chew because I'm still moving even when I'm eating.
Do you have people along the trail that are kind of feeding you this, or do you just have it on you?
I'll have a lot of it on me. I have like a running vest that I wear that has like a bazillion little pockets in it. And so I'll have my own, water bladder with a little tube and can just drink it on the go. And then I'll have a bunch of pockets full of snacks basically. And I'll just be snacking my way through 50 miles.
This Jenny, you would enjoy the snack part. Jenny's all about snacks.
Well, and then 50 miles, usually like ultra races, they have aid stations every couple miles. So it might be like every 10 miles, they'll have a buffet of snacks. And so there's M&Ms, potato chips, salty pretzels. I carry my own stuff. I guess maybe I'm a little picky, but I do actually, I have a bunch of stuff sitting next to me. So this isn't product placement, but Pringles they're just a vehicle for salt.
Yeah.
They only taste good after like 25 miles. They're delish.
And then post-race, as far as, fueling up?
Post race protein. For me, that's tofu or like black beans. I'm vegetarian, so get protein in interesting ways, rebuilding all the muscles that I just tore up.
Now, do you do any type of like weightlifting as well to kind of help with the running or?
I do. I should do more. I know I should definitely do more yoga. Jenny, I've seen all your inspiring yoga things, and I wish that I was more flexible. And maybe someday, I'm not saying no to it. So maybe someday I will get into yoga. But yeah, I do some weight training. It's mostly lighter weights. I'm not trying to lift super heavy things. I'm not trying to bulk up. I don't need that. So, but I do need to be strong, right? So I'm lifting lighter weights, but lots of reps.
So how long? Because you said when did you start running? You were young.
Seventh grade.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was probably like 13.
So how long did it take you to figure out like your routine now that you have? 'Cause it seems like you have a whole plan, you know what you're doing, the snacks, that like the regimen, all that. Did that take you a long time to like find your sweet spot?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely was not running ultra marathons as a seventh
Sure.
grader. As a seventh grader, I was running 1 mile and then picking flowers and eating snacks with my friends.
Yeah.
So things have changed over the years. I mean, even in high school, I was definitely training more seriously in high school, but I think I did 45 miles a week in high school as a senior. But then in college, I ran, I think, 60 miles a week. And then after college, there was a point in my life when I ran 90 miles a week, and that was the highest. And after a kid or two, then I was like, I can't keep doing this. So now it's down to 60, maybe
I
70.
love that that's the bar you've set. That's the low amount of
Yeah,
running.
yeah, and as life changes, so does my running routine. It has to change too.
So what made you interested in running? I know you had brothers and sisters and they ran as well. Is that what got you interested in running?
Yeah, I became interested in running mostly because my older brother Dave was a runner and he ran on the high school team. And so when I was in seventh grade, I was following whatever he did at the time. And so he was running and running over the summer. So I stopped by the high school cross country team practices a few times as a seventh grader and felt very cool being everybody's cool little sister. And then I just had fun with it in seventh and eighth grade. I was not good in seventh grade at all. And then in eighth grade, I think only maybe by the track season, by the end of the school year, did I show any kind of promise. I think I just had to have fun with it first before I could really come up with some routine or stick with it. At first, I was like, it's something to do after school and hang out with people.
And you did track and cross country in high school?
Yeah.
Interesting. So you were the state champ for the state of Ohio. So not Ohio State University because you went to Brigham Young, but the state of Ohio. So what does that look like? Like, how do you get to be state champ, I guess?
In cross country, well, cross country and track, there's a district meet. And so all of the school teams get together that are nearby each other. And usually at the district meet, there were maybe 200 runners in my race. And then we would run a 5,000 meter race. So 3.1 miles. In cross country, it was on a cross country course. So it could look, each cross country course is very different. Sometimes they were golf courses. Sometimes it was a metro park. And some lovely person would have to measure out 3.1 miles exactly with some little wheel. And I don't know, all their like measuring things to make sure it's exactly 3.1 miles. And they'd just put up a bunch of cones so you know where the start and finish is and let everybody loose. So that would be the district meet. And then track is much easier, right? It's like 400-meter track, but kind of same thing. You would have a bunch of schools get together for the district meet. And in the races, there weren't 200. You know, you can't fit that many people on a track, but sometimes they'd have as many as like 30 kids on the track at the same time, like in the same race. So just depending on which race you were running, but with 3,200 meters, they usually fit a few more people on the track. I think top 4 or 6 would go on to the regional meet. The top 4 or 6 or so from the regional meet would go on to the state meet, and then they would crown the state champion, whoever finished fastest in those races.
And which one were you state champion? Was that the 3,200? Okay. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's 3.1 miles?
No, so I was state champion in cross country, which was the 3.1 miles. So in the fall, I ran cross country and was state champion there. And then in the spring, I ran track and ran the 3,200 meters, which is about 2 miles, and won that as well.
Wow, that's impressive.
So I know this is mainly an individual sport, but was there any type of team aspect to it?
Yeah. Well, so in cross country, the top 7 athletes score, or the top 5 athletes score. You can have a team of 7 running the race, but the fastest 5 score for your team. And the lowest score actually wins in cross country. So perfect score would be 15. If your team went first, second, third, fourth, fifth place, you'd like blow everybody away. So 15 is like perfect score. For track, of course, there's many different events and the scoring's a little bit different, but if you have enough kids that can score in different events, you can win points for your team. So my senior year, our high school had a couple runners who could score pretty well, and so we had a chance at doing well as a team at the state meet. And so I changed my strategy a little bit. Instead of just focusing on just running the 3,200 meters, I also ran the 1,600 meters just so I could get a couple more points for our team. So sometimes if you qualify in 2 different events at the same track meet, some will just choose to focus on one so you can put all your energy into one race. But because we were hoping to get a few more points, I chose to do both races. So it can change your strategy, but it's cool to make it as a team. I know running can seem like a very individual sport, but there are some team aspects to it. It can be fun.
And when you went on to BYU, was the national championship similar? Did it work in the same ways as high school, or how was that different?
Yeah, I mean, it worked pretty much very similarly, at least in cross country. There would be a conference meet, but the conference meet didn't necessarily determine who went on to the nationals. So there were just regional races. There would be a regionals, and then the top 4 teams or so from each region would qualify for the national meet. Mhm.
So did you know you wanted to run in college? Your whole time in high school, was that one of your goals?
Yeah, definitely wanted to run in college. I think by high school, like maybe my sophomore year, I thought I could see a future in this. This would be fun. I want to keep doing this.
And does BYU have a history of having a good program?
They have a very good program. I mean, it's also a religious school, and I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints. So I was like, it all makes sense. But yeah, it helps that they had a really good cross country team. Like they had
Yeah.
already won nationals a couple times. And so I was like, yeah, I'd love to go there.
So let's get into your Boston marathons and the 100 miler and all of that. Have you run Boston? Is it 3 times?
I've run it 9
Oh
times.
my
9 times.
goodness.
Oh, when did you first run it?
2006.
Were you living in Boston at that time?
I was. So it was a lot easier to just like wake up and roll out and go run it.
What do you have to run in order to qualify?
Well, in 2006, I think the standard was 3 hours and 40 minutes. So for Boston, that was the standard if you were a woman under 40. And now the older I get, the easier it gets, sort of. I mean, hard in some ways, but the time standard goes higher and higher. So now I think the standard is like 3 hours and 30 minutes, or wait, that can be right. 3 hours, 45 minutes, something like that.
Now, do you always have to submit your time, or at this point you've run it 9 times, so you're just like a shoe-in every time you want to run it?
There are no shoe-ins unless you run 25 consecutive Bostons. And there are people who have done that. So, but if you don't do that, you're not a shoe-in. You have to requalify every year. And you can requalify at the Boston Marathon for the next years, but not everybody does that. When you register for the race, you have to have already run another marathon and say what time you're going to run.
So, and does any marathon count that time to qualify for Boston, or is it only certain marathons that they like accept?
It has to be a USA Track and Field Association certified marathon. So basically, it just means that they've measured 26.2 miles and it really is that long.
So, in addition to Boston, what are some of the other really iconic ones that you've run? New York's pretty iconic, right?
Right. Yeah, I haven't run to New York.
Okay.
I haven't necessarily run all of the iconic marathons. I've run marathons that have been conveniently located for me. If I want to compete, it's got to make sense with kids and work schedules and things.
Do you have a favorite?
The New Hampshire Marathon was very beautiful. The Northeast Kingdom Marathon in Vermont, also beautiful. Both of those were around a lake in the fall. So it was full foliage, beautiful colors.
I have to think those have lots
Lovely.
of hills compared to
Yeah, they
Boston.
also had lots of hills. So they weren't my fastest, but I had fun. It was pretty. My fastest time came at the Hartford, Connecticut Marathon.
And
So
what was that?
my fastest time was 2 hours and 52 minutes.
Holy
Yeah.
mackerel. I did for like a charity thing, I did the Disney half. I mostly walked it. They let the marathoners go first, and there were people who were very competitive who were running that. And they announced over the PA when the first marathoners finished, and like we were barely halfway through the walking of the half. I was like, okay, this is clearly not my world. I was like, did we have to rub that in? The people at the finish line could have just cheered for them. We didn't have to tell everybody who was still walking and nowhere close to a finish line that those people had already finished. Like, unbelievable. Wow.
I
Very
mean, it's a
cool.
blessing and a curse. I think one of the cool things about running is that everybody starts on the same starting line. And so you get professionals in the same race with people who are running their first marathon, or walking it or whatever. Well, you're all running the exact same course at the same time. That's kind of cool. You don't get that with every sport.
I guess I knew they were gonna fit. I just don't think I recognized, like, how fast they were gonna finish relative to what I was doing, like, that hadn't really occurred to me, and so it was like,
Mhm.
"Holy mackerel." Like, I felt like I had trained forever just to walk this half marathon, and, like, it was a little, eye-opening as like the reality of that situation.
Mhm.
Recently saw a story, I think it was the LA Marathon. And to your point about professional runners and just your average runner out there on the same course, I think it was a photo finish. And I believe the man who won, a substitute teacher from Michigan, I think he just ran for fun and he ended up coming behind this guy who I assume was a professional runner and just beat him by a nose. It
I
was
saw
definitely a
that.
photo finish.
Yeah, I'm sure he did more than just run for fun. I think he's probably more like myself, where I don't have a shoe deal. Like, nobody's paying me to run at this point. But yet, I still go out and try and be competitive and try and win stuff. He was up against professional runners who do have shoe contracts and appearance fees and probably got a free entry into the race. Yeah, it was nice to see a teacher with a legit job kicked out a professional athlete who, just runs all day and gets massages and stuff. Hooray for the common man
There you go.
and woman.
And it was a great story that he could take back to his students too.
Hmm.
Like, hey, don't give up. Anyone can do this. You just practice.
Hmm.
So how old were you when you ran your first marathon? Were you out of college or was that part of your college experience?
Yeah, I was out of college. I guess I was 24,
Okay.
25.
Did you go marathon to 50 and then to 100?
No, I was not that
Okay.
linear. I ran marathons for many years, and also I still ran on the track and ran a lot of road races. The marathon was my longest distance up until a couple years ago. I ran a 50-kilometer race, which is just barely longer than a marathon, so it didn't feel like a huge jump, but it was enough to be mildly interested. And then last year, I think because my husband had run a 100-miler and I'm slightly competitive, and I guess maybe even with him, I was like, I can't be shown up by someone who doesn't even call themselves a runner. So yeah, I decided to sign up and do a 100-miler. So I did that last fall. And yeah, the 50-mile on Saturday, actually, my husband signed us both up. So we're both running this on Saturday, not together, but we'll be in the same race at the same time.
The 50 is going to seem like nothing, I guess, right?
That's the hope, but I'll remember that phrase in my head this Saturday. This is nothing.
So explain to us, what does mile 80 of a 100-mile race look like in your head?
And
Like,
like
what are you telling yourself at that point?
and how long have you been running when you're hitting like 80 miles? How long has this been happening?
I mean, it took me 21 hours to finish the 100-miler, so I guess at 80, I probably would have been at like 17
Oh my
hours or
gosh.
so. Yeah, I mean, it's a long time. So by mile 80, I was tired. I was not moving as well as I had been earlier in the race. I think I ran pretty smart, all things considered, but by the end, I could still feel that my stride was shorter than it was before and couldn't pick my knees up as much as I had been. And so I was just shuffling along, doing the doom shuffle, just kind of getting it done. So I did have to stop to go to the bathroom or grab a handful of Pringles or refill a water bottle. And every time I stopped, it would take like way too long to get started again. I was like, my mind wants me to run, but my legs, it would take me like 5 minutes to get back up to full speed, which at that point wasn't that speedy. It like everything took longer at 80 miles. The 100-miler that I ran, I think there were about 200 runners,
Okay.
which people spread out really quickly. I ran a lot of the race by myself. I didn't see 200 people the whole time I ran.
The winner, how long did it take them?
I think the winner was around 18 or
Okay.
19 hours.
Holy mackerel. Wow.
Yeah, like she was way ahead of me.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy to think like, yeah, somebody like you who knows what you're doing and as a runner, like that's 3 hours difference. So it does spread out a lot.
And what are you telling yourself at this time? Like, just keep running, just keep running.
Like Nemo, just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
Yeah, no, it really is like that. Like sometimes it's helpful to have some little mantra that you just like repeat to yourself. I was just keep moving was sort of my mantra of like, all right, just keep moving, just keep moving. I don't want to overthink it. I don't want to think I still have 20 miles to go. In running, I think you kind of have to fool your mind into doing certain things. And so you kind of have to lie to yourself and say like 20 miles is not that far. Right? But you have to be like so good at it that you believe yourself.
Right.
So I'm very good at lying to myself.
Okay, I guess that's a required skill if you're going to do this. The ability to
Yes.
lie to yourself and believe your own lies.
I always wanted to run a full marathon. However, I don't think my knees would appreciate it at this point in my life. So, for people like myself who think I could never run a marathon, what would you tell those people?
I guess I would tell them you don't have to to be awesome. I feel like running is my thing and that's great, but I'm not like everybody must run. I totally get that a lot of people can't, and I understand that at some point I might not be able to. So I just appreciate that I can do it now. That's fine. And who knows, maybe someday all I can do is yoga and that'll be great. But I don't think everybody has to run a marathon to be accomplished in the world. So if you want to run a marathon, yeah, go out there and get it and train hard and do it. But if you don't want to, then don't do it. Forcing yourself to run a marathon sounds terrible.
I would agree. Sometimes we've had things where like Jenny listens to people talk about stuff and decides she wants to go try that. She did promise me she was not going to go run 100 miles after talking to you
Yeah.
today. I was like, I'm not videoing that and you're going to end up in the hospital. So let's not do
I
that.
mean, maybe I'm not selling it well. It is a lot of fun, and you can pretty much eat all the Pringles you want. And they do have like really great snack buffets, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's a price to pay for
Yeah.
sure.
I text Beth and I was like, yeah, just so you know, I'm not signing myself up for anything during this conversation. I'm not going to have a wild hair idea that I'm
Yeah.
just going to go out and run, because I feel like this is something that you need to dedicate many hours of practice to before you just go out there and run. And I know there's people out there that, probably don't practice and just go out and run, but I feel like that's probably more common in like a 5K, 10K, maybe even half. But as you start getting into some of those larger distances, I feel like having a training plan is very important.
Yes. But as far as anybody that wants to run a marathon, or just if anybody's interested in running in general, there's so many ways to run. It doesn't have to be a marathon. You can run on the track. You can run on a treadmill in the gym. There's so many ways of doing it and ways to make it fun. So I am not very focused in my training all of the time. I truly enjoy this and enjoy having fun. So I sign up for ridiculous races. I did one called the Brain Freezer 5K where you had to run, but you had to run about 1.5 miles and then stop and eat a pint of ice cream as fast as you can. And then you had to run the other 1.5 miles to finish. Maybe not going for my fastest time, but like that was fun.
Yeah.
It's like the donut ones where you have to run, and I think you eat like a dozen donuts or something like that.
So there's like a beer mile where you run a lap, drink a beer, run another lap, etc. for a mile. But they also have like a donut mile and, name whatever crazy food. I'm sure there's a mile for it.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's probably a good way for people who, like, to your point, make it fun if you want to start running without just going out there and just training for a marathon to start, right? Do some fun stuff and see if you like running that
Yeah,
way.
have a
Yeah,
little fun with
that's
it.
cool.
There's a Taco Bell 50K in Colorado where you run from Taco Bell to Taco Bell and you have to eat certain menu items at the different ones. I think you run to 7 or 9 different Taco Bell locations by the end of it, and you've eaten a ridiculous amount of Taco Bell.
If you wanted to start running and you wanted to do a 5K, where would you tell someone to start?
I would say there's a Couch to 5K. If you just type Couch to 5K program into Google, it'll spit out some little training program where it might be 12 or 16 weeks long. And the first week, you'll probably walk 5 minutes and run 1 minute, and walk 5 minutes and run 1 minute, and do that for 30 minutes or so. Progressing over the weeks, you run more, walk less, and by the end of it, you'll be able to run for 30, 40 minutes or however long it takes to run a 5K. I think the key is to just start slowly. You certainly don't want to go out and just run 100 miles, but build up over time in small increments.
Okay.
And what is your go-to shoe for running?
I wear the Brooks Ghost has been my favorite lately.
I feel like a runner now that I wear those.
Yay! So yeah, I have the Brooks Ghosts, I have Brooks Cascadias for trails, and I have the Brooks Hyperion Elite for road racing. So for the marathon, that's what I wore because it's very light, feels very fast, it's a little bouncier. It's great.
Feels like we need to get you a shoe deal out of this somehow. If you're promoting
I
them,
know. Come on, Brooks.
Pringles and Brooks at this point should be paying you to advertise their products. So we said a couple kind of fun questions. So the best race you've ever run. I don't know if you, however you want to define best, right? Either time or most fun or whatever your definition of best is.
My definition of best keeps changing. So my best race is always the one that I did just before talking to you.
Okay. Well, that's a good answer.
The Boston Marathon, I would say that'll be my best race. It certainly was the best weather that I've run the Boston Marathon in. The weather was pretty perfect.
Okay.
I ran well for my age and for this phase of life. It is not my fastest time ever, but that is okay.
Then do you have a worst one?
Worst race ever? I ran a race in high school where I was deathly ill. I had a fever of like 103, but it was high school and I was invincible. And so I was like, oh, I have to make it to the meet. I think I still ran well, but I felt horrible.
Yeah, that does not
So
sound fun.
yeah, that didn't go well.
Most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you mid-race? You ever
Mm,
tripped and fell?
I've definitely tripped and fallen. Actually, I tripped somebody else in it was another high school race in the 3,200 meters. It was at the regional meet my senior year, and I accidentally tripped somebody else. It just like it happens sometimes if you're like clumped way too close. And yeah, I don't know, my foot just hit somebody else, and she went down and went tumbling, and I felt so bad afterwards.
That seems like you could like take down a whole group of people like a dominoes or something if
No,
you're
for
not
real.
careful.
Well, you totally could. So, yeah, I felt really bad and I went and apologized to her and she was like, "Actually, that was my best time ever." So, I didn't ruin her race, but I felt really bad and was kind of embarrassed that I had tripped her up.
Are you doing another 100-miler? Is that on your to-do list or was one enough?
Do it again. I don't know if I'll do it this year. We'll see. Yeah, it's not a one and done. I've only done one and I felt it didn't go terribly, so I should probably do it again because I could probably go faster. I can improve a few things.
But you enjoyed it enough to think you would want to do that again?
Yeah.
Just cannot wrap my head around that.
Well, the first time you do something, right,
Yeah.
then you, like, see all the ways that maybe you could, like, "Oh, I could have trained a little better here, done that, or eaten this," or
See, that is the mind of a competitor.
Is there something you think people like me who are non-runners don't understand or get wrong about runners other than maybe we think you're a little bit crazy? I don't know if you think you're a little bit crazy
"Oh,
or not.
that's not off." Like, runners are definitely a little
Okay.
bit crazy, and, like, some more crazy than others. I will look at other runners and be like, "You're crazy." Like runners who are really into their Strava accounts and have to have everything online, or runners that run with their selfie sticks and record their whole
Okay. Yep.
marathon, like live stream everything.
Is there something else you think that non-runners don't really understand or get about runners?
I mean, pretty much everybody, when they find out I'm a runner, their automatic response is to say how much they hate running, which I find a little funny. I'm like, that's fine. You can hate running. I like running. You hate running. It's fine. But it's just funny that that's the thing that everybody wants to say. Like, if you're a non-runner, it's okay to be a non-runner and we can coexist. That doesn't have to be the first thing out of your mouth.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I won't tell runners that I hate running anymore.
There you go.
Any other facts or wisdom that you think we should know before we close out?
I feel like you asked me to come and talk about running on this podcast, and I was like, well, which sport are they talking about? Because running is part of so many sports. There's cross country, indoor track and field, outdoor track and field, ultra running, trail running, mountain running. I feel like I'm probably forgetting some, but like there's many different ways to do it. That was kind of one of my 2026 goals was to run all of the things. And so this year I ran an indoor track race. I jumped in a collegiate race with a bunch of kids that are my kids' ages and ran with them. I haven't run my outdoor track race yet, but I think that might be next month. I want to run indoor track, outdoor track, a cross country race, a trail race, a kilted mile. That's on my list.
Yeah,
What
what's
is a
that?
kilted mile?
A kilted mile. So there's the Scottish games in Ohio, and I think in most places too. They have Scottish games, and some of the events are the caber toss. They have like all kinds of throwing rocks and logs and things, but they also have a kilted mile for runners where you wear a kilt
Really?
and run a mile. So that's like the only Scottish games event that I can compete in.
You're not going to be the one carrying the big log?
I'm tempted to do the haggis throw or something where you chuck a 1 pound haggis as far as you can while standing on a whiskey barrel. So I may try that this year. I think I can do it. Maybe not well, but I can do it.
One other question I had while we're sitting here. Have you ever tried sprinting? because that's a form of running. Or if you're a long distance runner, you're not a sprinter, or vice versa. Is it kind of like that?
Pretty much. I mean, it's not like I've not tried sprinting. I'm just not good at sprinting. So I definitely tried sprinting in like 7th grade, 8th grade. And then sprinting, of course, becomes part of your workouts later. But my times would not be competitive at all. Coach Huntington, my high school coach, would say some people are blessed with fast twitch muscle fibers that are good for just reacting quickly and sprinting, and some people have slow twitch muscle fibers. So that is me. I can run all day, but I cannot, for the life of me, quickly get off the blocks and get 100 meters to the finish very quickly. Yeah, I'm definitely not a sprinter. I have tried. I have failed.
How fast do you think you can run the 40-yard dash?
I knew you
Oh
were
my
going to go
goodness.
there. If you have not watched that episode that we taped, you should. I was just thinking we should have had her critique your attempt at the 40-yard dash, but if she's not a
Well,
sprinter, maybe that wouldn't have gone. Like, Jenny attempted this and it was fairly entertaining, and we have it on camera in an episode.
I just have to say it was 90 degrees out and I'm not a runner, but I was like, I can do this. I can attempt this. My goal was just to get under 10 seconds and I did
She
that.
did. Yep.
I don't know that I could get under 10 seconds, and I probably wouldn't even try at this point. I'd probably pull a hamstring.
That was my concern for sure. There was a lot of discussion about stretching. Were we going to have to call an ambulance? The place we actually ran it at, there was some other event and there was an ambulance just like for whatever that event was. And I was like, oh, good. We can just wave them over if we need to, if you pull something. But that was not necessary. I was the videographer. I wanted zero part of this activity.
Well, if I run a 40-yard dash anytime soon, I guess I need to find a football field, but maybe I'll time it for you. It'll make you feel better about your 40-yard dash time, I'm sure. Because, yeah, I don't think I could get under 10 seconds. I'm not fast. I can just go a really long time.
I think you'd be surprised. Well, Emily, thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you the best of luck on your 50-miler this
Yeah.
weekend.
Best
Thank
wishes.
you.
You'll have to let us know how it goes.
I'll let you know.
Send us a photo. Do you get medals? Is that a thing with these races? Or
Yeah,
okay.
you usually get a medal. Sometimes for longer races, they give you a belt buckle. I honestly don't know what they're giving me at the end of this race, but better come with food, right?
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode. And if you've liked what you've heard and you've stuck with us this far, we would love for you to subscribe. We are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We hope to see you next week.